Welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. We're having a lot of fun this year with all sorts of programs. We're doing some applique ones. So this is one of the applique ones. We're doing 20 things that you might find in the kitchen. And it's a very delicious looking kitchen, I have to say. I wish it was my kitchen. So we've already started. We've got 20 different appliques coming, or altogether. We've already done 2, so we're on to applique number 3 for in the kitchen this time. We're making a kettle, so if you've already registered to have the pattern with GourmetQuilter.com, you'll have all the shapes ready to trace. You'll have an image of the finished block. All the pieces that you're tracing are numbered so that you get some idea of what lies beneath. And so I've already started going ahead. I've got all my fusible webbing on the back. I've started positioning my pieces, but I haven't ironed anything in place just yet. Just keep an eye on, we're losing 1/4 inch seam allowance if we're going to sew these blocks into something else. So we need to make sure that we're leaving ourselves enough space around the edges for things like that. Other than that, it's just a matter of positioning everything. Now I'm using a steamer seam fusible here, so it's got a little bit of stick to it even though it's not ironed yet, so everything kind of just sits nicely in place, although it does just want to grab just a little bit sometimes. But I have to just be ready for that. So I'm just trying to overlap this little strip here. This is the base of my kettle. I think my kettle's looking pretty exciting. I think when I dreamed these up I was thinking, what would I like in my kitchen, rather than what have I got in my kitchen. So I'm happy with everything sitting like it is now, so I'm going to go ahead and iron all that in place. And then I'm going to be doing some free motion stitching for the applique stitching. You could do something else if you preferred. I like the free motion, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Because I'm free motioning, I like to put a stabilizer of some sort behind, and I found just a very lightweight cotton batting works really well for me. So I'm putting that in behind, and I'm only ironing it. It's not fusible, but because it just helps grip, because it's cotton on cotton, it works really nicely. So I'm actually using cotton batiks for the applique, because I find that they work really well with the fused raw edge work, because they don't fray as much as some other cottons can when you do this sort of work. So I'm ready to do some stitching now. I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to do, as I said, the free motion stitching. So I've dropped my feed teeth and I've got a little embroidery open toe foot on there. So mostly it's just going to be outline stitching around. So I just might start here with this little lid and go around the little knob on the top, so that you can just see that it's really not that hard to do at all. So I'm just going to go past the knob and then come back a little bit and then come onto the knob. And then I can keep coming around. Now I could just keep going at this stage and go onto that handle, which I think I'll do. And I'm going to come up the inside of it. So I like to keep going as much as I can without stopping and starting, with having to tie off the threads and things. So that seems to be one of my aims in life. So really it's just a matter of going around all the raw edges. And even though it's all fused on, it still needs to be stitched so that it won't lift off again at some future point. And the stitching helps outline things. I'm using a darkish grey thread. And pretty much for all the applique, I don't change colours necessarily, because I quite like that it gives it some sort of a little outline by having that slightly different coloured thread. So I'm going to continue on. You've seen most of the fiddly applique now. Just come around that little handle bit there, and I will have to stop and start just there. So I'll continue on doing the other applique, and I will come back to you and show it to you when it's done. So I've been busy going all the way around, and I've just got the little spout to do, with its little lid on it. So in order to keep going, I'll just come back up on that edge there, and then I can just come back along the top of the spout into there, and I'm back where I was at that handle, and it was that simple. So I'll just do a couple of stitches on top to lock that off and cut my threads, and then I'm just going to give it a quick press. Woohoo! We are doing well. So that was applique number 3 for in the kitchen. So far we're doing pretty well. We've got a saucepan, we've got a plate to eat from, we've got a kettle for a cup of tea or coffee. Well, what more could we want? Well, there's a few things more we want. So there's more things coming for in the kitchen. That was number 3, so I'll see you again with number 4.